Good morning everybody and welcome back to the channel. I'm Pokémon Trainer Eats and you're watching the very first episode of Pokémon Weekly. Just to give you a quick overview since this is our first episode, in these episodes I'll be talking about Pokémon Trading Card Game, Pokémon Video Game, Pokémon GO and Pokémon Anime, plus any other interesting news I might like you to hear about. So, without further ado, let's dive right in! Okay, so starting off with the Pokémon Trading Card Game. This week I've just been playing online. I've been playtesting with a new deck as well as completing various daily challenges. I tend to use theme decks for my daily challenges where I can, because I think if you can play with different decks, it just keeps the interest up in the game and just keeps things fresh. So this week I've played a total of 26 games. I've won 12, lost 14, so not a particularly great week in terms of wins. I did pick up 115 versus points, so I certainly got a start on the new versus ladder that has appeared with Sun and Moon packs. In terms of the actual deck I was testing this week, and this is the deck that I was showing you in TCGO Weekly a bit later on, I was testing a Turbo Flareon deck. Obviously, with the Sun and Moon set coming out, there's been a lot of hype about grass-type Pokemon, and the fact that grass-type decks may suddenly become big again, especially with the use of forested giant plants. So I thought, well, I'll start testing a fire deck. Now, I'm hoping to go to a league challenge in a couple of weeks, assuming I can get the time off work for it, or get the day off. So I'm preparing as if I would be going to that event. So I thought, well, if there's going to be grass decks, I want to play a fire deck. Now, people are hyping up Volcanion, but I don't really have many of those. But what I do have is a full play set of Flareon EX. So I thought if I can build a Turbo Flareon deck, play a few games with it, see how it works, make changes, and so on and so forth. I played 9 games with the deck. I've won 3 and lost 6. So early testing would suggest it's not the greatest deck. I've made a lot of changes. I've taken out some Fighting Fury belts for some EXP shares because I was finding that I couldn't get the energies on later Flareons. Like, I'd be able to set up, say, maybe 2 Flareon, but then once they were both knocked out, my 3rd and 4th didn't have any energy on. So that's not the only changes I've made other changes too. But I'll show you a game with the deck after and we can see how that goes, but so far I think the deck isn't really good enough. It's a good idea, but it auto loses to Volcanion because of Volcanion EX's dual type ability, and apart from that, it's just not that good. And that concludes our trading card game section. Okay, so next up we're going to talk about the video game. This week I've been playing on Pokémon X. I'm not terribly far through the game as I did only start it just before New Year. So this week I have been working with a team that started off with Pidgeotto, Greninja, Charmeleon, Raichu, Skiddo and Hippopotas. I like to train a variety of types in my team so that I've kind of covered all bases in terms of weakness coverage and such. My notable achievements this week: I've completed the Tower of Mastery, won the Rumble Badge at the Shalor City Gym, beating Karina, and my Charmeleon evolved into Charizard. I received Lucario from Karina, and my Pidgeotto evolved into Pidgeot. So I'm just going to take you onto the game now, just show you my team. So this is my team. Apologies for Hippopotas's low hit points. I have not actually been to a Pokemon Center recently. So that's my Hippopotas. Then my Greninja. My Skiddo. My Raichu. My Charizard. Now, for those of you who've been watching me long enough, you should know that Charizard is my favourite Pokemon. So, of course, when the opportunity came around to get the Kanto starter, Charmander was always going to be my choice so that I could get that Charizard. And the final Pokemon in team, possibly the pride of my team, I say that despite Charizard being in, is my shiny Pidgeot. Now, there's an interesting story behind this. When I was away on holiday, I was just catching Pokemon on one of the routes one day, and I just happened to look down at the console, because I was kind of looking out the window as well, because obviously I was in a ski resort, so, you know, you do like to look out the window at the mountain. I just happened to look back at my screen, and there was something rather odd about the Pidgey that was standing there on the screen. I said to my brother, who was sat next to me playing his copy of Pokémon Y, I said, hang on a minute, isn't that a shiny? Noticing the fact that instead of the usual red claws, the Pidgey on my screen had gold claws. So needless to say, I threw a Pokeball at it to catch it, and then sure enough when I checked, a shiny Pidgey. Now, I was actually quite surprised at this, because I have not caught a shiny Pokemon for years. The last time I've caught any shiny Pokemon was on my copy of Soul Silver, and I think I've caught a few shinies on there. I know I've got a shiny Crobat on there, and then I caught a Magikarp, a gold Magikarp. Now, of course, in the Soul Silver game, you get given, or you can catch at the Lake of Rage, you can catch the shiny Gyarados. So what am I supposed to do with a gold Magikarp, besides just keep it in the computer and do nothing with it? But anyway, Soul Silver will be for another day. So that's what I've been up to on Pokemon X this week. I may carry on with X over the next week, or I might switch to another video game. I'm thinking I might jump about between video games just to keep things interesting, so that I can say I've been to different regions. Or, you know, if you guys would prefer me to stick to just the one version, get a bit further down there and then change to another game, I can do that as well. Just let me know in the comments below if you prefer to have me talk about a different video game each week, or the same video game, you know, just let me know. And that's it for our video game section. Okay, so next up we have Pokémon GO. Now, I'll be honest, this week I haven't actually been able to play any Pokémon GO. Two reasons. First of all, I was ill last weekend, so I wasn't really able to get out and play it. And then, once I would have been well enough to play it, the weather was awful. Can't really play Pokémon GO when it's pouring with rain, because I'm pretty sure rain and iPads don't go together. So, I couldn't play it this week. However, I did play it the previous week, and I did collect a few bits of data from that. So I'll tell you about that instead. So the previous week I hatched 3 eggs, none of which were particularly exciting. I've not found any of those lucrative Johto Pokemon from the eggs yet, although I have heard online that Generation 2 Pokemon are coming to the game, so I really look forward to that update. Anyway, so the eggs I hatched an Oddish egg, a Spearow egg, and a Geodude. Now the Geodude was quite good because that gave me the remaining candy I needed to evolve to Graveler, and that Graveler is actually on something like 998, so when I evolve that to Golem eventually, when I find somewhere that has some Geodudes that I can catch, that Golem is actually probably going to end up as my strongest Pokemon in terms of CP. Pokemon I evolved this week, obviously I've just been catching Pokemon to get the candies so that I can evolve my Pokemon. The following evolutions I got were Hypno, Flareon, which I didn't have in my Pokedex, that was a new entry, Kingler, Gloom, Kakuna, Parasect, Poliwhirl, Graveler, and I can't read my own writing here. That looks like Pidgeotto. So, plenty of evolutions the previous week when I played the game. I think getting those stage 2 evolutions is of course quite hard, because some of them, like for example Poliwhirl into Poliwrath, you need 100 candies, so that's an awful lot of Poliwag to catch and then transfer to get the extra candies. Notable catches of that week, I only had the one, and it was a Ditto. Now, obviously Ditto is quite hard to find in the game because it doesn't appear as a Ditto. And there's a funny story behind this as well, because I nearly missed it. Because where one of the places I play Pokemon Go is Ashton Park in West Kirby, which is on the Wirral in the UK. It's a great little location. There's about 15 Pokestops, so you can just walk round and round the park, and by the time you've done a whole circuit at the park, all the Pokestops have reset, so you can just start again. Anyway, I arrived at the park, and there was a Rattata nearby. There was a few Rattata nearby, and I'd already caught a couple. I thought, I can't be bothered catching another Rattata. But something at the last minute, just before it disappeared off my screen behind me, I just thought, you know what, I'll click on this Rattata. So I call it Rattata. And then it suddenly starts to glow on my screen. I was like, what's going on? And then Ditto appeared. So that Ditto was masquerading as a Rattata that I nearly didn't catch. So I got myself a Ditto. The CP is a bit rubbish. 10. That's right, the Ditto that I caught has 10 CP. Maybe I'll find another one at some point, but since it took me so long to find a Ditto in the first place, I don't hold my breath for catching another one anytime soon. So that's it for Pokemon Go the previous week. I should definitely be able to play it this week because I have now recovered from said illness that I had, so I'll be able to get out and play Pokemon Go all of next week. So, looking forward to that, and I'll be sure to bring you guys some details about that next week. And that's it for our discussion on Pokemon Go. Okay, so let's talk about the anime. This week I've watched 5 episodes from the Orange Islands series, which is season 2. I watched Meowth Rules, Tracy Gets Bugged, A Way Off Day Off, The Mandarin Island Mismatch, and Wherefore Art Thou Pokemon. So in Meowth Rules, Meowth crash lands on an island where Meowth is worshipped. Obviously Meowth loves this, because we know Meowth loves attention. And he tries to keep up the appearance for a while that, you know, he's the Meowth they've been looking for. But eventually he realises that, you know what, he really does miss Jessie and James because they've always been there for him. So he leaves the island and goes back with Jessie and James. So this episode really is just kind of focusing on Team Rocket. It's one of those rare episodes where we don't see much of Ash and the gang. In Tracy Gets Bugged, the gang lands on a bug island, something which of course Misty really loves because we know how much Misty loves bug Pokemon. She's a bit reluctant of course, but gets dragged along anyway. Tracy finds an old Scyther in a clearing. This Scyther used to be the leader of its tribe, but has been beaten by a younger Scyther and has then been banished from the tribe. Tracy catches the Scyther, takes it to the Pokemon Centre to get help. Scyther then runs out the Pokemon Centre when it senses that the rest of the tribe are in danger, thanks to Team Rocket of course. And then Scyther proves that, you know what, there's still a bit of fight left in the old dog. So, all's well that ends well. Scyther parts from the tribe with an understanding and sets off with Tracy on the journey. In A Way Off Day Off, the gang are on a little bit of a vacation. They find an island that's filled with fruit, so they decide to take a rest for a day, collecting the fruit. Tracy cooks up a big lunch, but of course the one thing you should never ever do, if you've got lots of fruit and you've prepared a great big fruity lunch, never let Snorlax out of its Pokeball. Because of course Ash let Snorlax out and Snorlax ate the lot. Obviously Team Rocket show up again and try and steal Pikachu, but don't succeed. Nothing new there then. Now the Mandarin Island Mismatch, this is actually an interesting one. I was on Pokemon.com this morning and this episode doesn't exist. Like, it actually doesn't exist. If you go on Pokemon.com, go on Season 2, Orange Islands on the episode guide, the Mandarin Island Mismatch isn't there because there's A Way Off Day Off, but that's instantly followed by Wherefore Art Thou Pokemon. There's no the Mandarin Island Mismatch on there. So I can only assume maybe it got banned and taken off, similar to Hijinks Holiday from the Indigo League in Season 1. Obviously, that only exists on the early Indigo League DVD releases now, so it would seem that it's a similar thing with the Mandarin Island Mismatch. Anyway, in this episode, the gang meets Star Pokemon Master Prima. Tracy and Misty are in awe. They've been a huge fan of Prima for years. Ash, of course, doesn't have a clue. But he decides, I want to battle this Prima. Of course, promptly loses. But, you know, he learns a few things about what it takes to be a Pokemon Master and how you should train your Pokemon and how you can work to understand your Pokemon better. So he leaves with plenty of fresh advice in his mind from Prima, and that he is going to put that into practice. And the final episode I watched this week, Wherefore Art Thou Pokemon, has a little bit of a twist on West Side Story, if you've ever seen that. There's 2 Nidoran in love, but the trainers hate each other, and the Nidoran are called Tony and Maria, which is quite amusing. Misty does not like the fact that the 2 trainers hate each other, and so starts to hatch plans as to how she can get the trainers to like each other. Her first plan backfires spectacularly, but then when Team Rocket intervenes and tries to steal the Nidoran, the 2 trainers are forced to work together. So eventually they become friends and the 2 Nidoran can be together, and at the very end of the episode the Nidoran evolve into Nidorina and Nidorino, so all's well that ends well. And that's it for our anime section. Okay, so we've reached the end of the first episode of Pokémon Weekly. First of all, I'd like to apologise for the quality of the early clips in this shot. It was my intention to try and use my webcam to record the clips for these episodes, just so that I wasn't using too much memory space on my video camera. However, halfway through, my webcam decided that it didn't want to work anymore and has basically expired. So I think I'll just stick to using the video camera, because I'm intending that these aren't going to be too long anyway. I realise I might have gone on a bit today and it's ended up slightly longer than I intended. I'll try and get things shorter and maybe keep it more short and snappy over the coming weeks. So that's that. So yeah, apologies for the changing quality. The webcam, I have had it some years, so I'm not surprised it's broken, to be honest. Anyway, just before we go, one more little announcement I'd like to make. So far, I'm really enjoying doing all these videos for you. So, with that in mind, I'm going to start another new series on here, and it's going to be called Theme Deck Thursday. And basically, it's exactly what it says. Going to do exactly what it says on the tin. And each Thursday, I'm going to go on TCGO, and I'm going to pick a theme deck, quickly take you through the cards in it, and then play a game with it on Trading Card Game Online. I have a lot of theme decks on there, so there's going to be plenty to keep us going for weeks. But more on that when I start that series, and if I can, I'm going to start that tomorrow. Coming up, following this video, there will be TCGO Weekly, where I take you through the deck that I was using this week, which this week is my Turbo Flareon deck, which I've called Fireball, so you can look forward to that. I'll put a link in the description below, straight to that video, so that you can go straight there. And if you've enjoyed what we've talked about today, do remember to hit that like button for me, and please subscribe if this is your first time here. If you want to get in touch in other ways, you can email me. I'll put a thing up on screen somewhere, maybe down at the bottom here. You can email me PokemonTrainerNeats@hotmail.com, and if you're on Twitter, you can find me on there as well, at PokemonTrainerNeats. Again, that'll be on the screen right in front of you roundabout now. And I'll always be posting links on there and kind of getting involved with the Pokemon conversation on there. So if you want to just come say hi on there, you know, feel free. And that's pretty much going to wrap things up for today. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.